Hello, everyone, and welcome to my interview with Karina Ladet. And Karina and I go way back when I first think I saw her in Leonie Dawson's Amazing Biz and Life Academy. And we've been following each other ever since. And it wasn't until this year that we actually worked together. And she was in the Singularity Circle. And now she's out and about in this next chapter, which is super exciting. So Karina, I don't want to steal the show. I want to know your story of how you became an intuitive, how you embraced and evolved into teaching people about spiritual business and following your intuition in business, and also embracing your purpose because you embody that beautifully, and how you've managed to do that.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And isn't that a great example of how we connect and then it doesn't, and we don't always work together right away, right? We kind of build that relationship and we kind of stalk each other for a while and then you go, oh, now is the right time.
Exactly, the divine timing. And I know you're going to talk about that. So
yeah, it's just so beautiful how that works, and just trusting that the right people will find you and that you will find the right people whenever you need to, right? Oh well, that's kind of like a big question how I started, because it feels like it's been going on for my whole life, which it kind of has and hasn't. But I think that's true for a lot of people who do intuitive work or something that is so you that you don't even think of it as work.
Yes. Yes.
Because I do think that I've always listened to my intuition quite a lot. Like I haven't felt so like I had to do certain things at a certain time. I've just really been listening to what I wanted to do. I didn't really call that intuition back then. It was more like, oh, this feels exciting. Oh, this feels like fun. And I was just going to follow that, and it would lead to the next thing. And most of the time I had no idea how, but it just seemed to happen a bit magically. And so, you know, you try something once and it works, you kind of go, well, maybe I can do it again. And it's just kind of evolved from there. And then one day I finally decided I was going to start my business doing intuitive readings, because that's what I've been doing the most, channeling messages for people and the healing and the, you know, the beautiful energies that come through when I do, what anyone channels. And I think because I started my business and then I've been kind of playing a lot, kind of like in my life when it comes to business. But because I blog quite a lot and I love sharing, more and more people have asked me, like, so how did you grow your business? Like, how did you get on that podcast? Or how come you were in that thing, you know?
Yes.
You know, and then I had to think, okay, how did I get on that thing? Because my first year, I was actually approached by quite a lot of people asking me to, you know, be a guest post on their blogs and all sorts of collaborations. And I just assumed everyone did that. You know how it is. We're kind of in our own bubble. Yeah. And so for me, it's really about just embracing what I feel is my purpose and to do things that feel right in my heart. And I find that when I do that, I attract the right people. And it's like my tribe. And you know this with the storytelling, my tribe, they see me and they go, oh, I know who you are, and they can feel me because most of them are really intuitive. So they can feel my energy, and they, you know, I'm not trying to manipulate them, or I'm not trying to, you know, that I'm honest. And I think that love and that sincere desire to want to help people and support them, and just seeing other people's light and potential. We can feel that, right? And no matter how good you are at like PR and writing a great copy, like if there's no soul in it, we can feel that. So that's how I started getting more into like the business coaching or mentoring, and that's yes, naturally with me, and because I really didn't feel ready or as if I was you know, qualified enough or had enough experience to teach this stuff, because I'm not really a business person, right? But I do know a lot of business because I have my own, and I've supported so many of my clients. And it's really the intuitive, emotional healing, all the stuff that comes up when we do launch our business and we want to grow and want to expand. You know, maybe have a bigger impact or make more money, stuff comes up, right? And if we don't deal with that, and if we don't, embrace that in a loving way, then it's really hard to grow your business and enjoy it.
Yes, I think definitely the up-leveling and the evolving, and then I feel that what you're bringing to the table in the business sphere is more of, it's okay to be afraid right now. You're growing. Take a break. It's okay to play right now. Don't worry. Take a break. And what I see in a lot of entrepreneur culture and business culture, especially in because I was involved in the tech scene, and tech startups are very masculine, which is beautiful because they're go, do, do, do. Whereas in the feminine, it's a lot of, how am I feeling right now? Does this feel good in my heart? Is this coming from my highest place of serving, but also serving me, instead of like, how can I make a profit right now?
Yeah, totally.
And not to be too much in one or too much in the other is also not healthy either. Like, you can be very much in like, I'm not feeling at all good, or I'm very, very scared right now. But I think what you're shifting is, I'm feeling afraid right now. Why am I feeling afraid? Okay, that's why. And now I'm still going to do it because I know this is my purpose. And that's pulling you, versus like, I have to do this to make a profit, and here's my goals for the month, and it's structured. So how did you, because I have a very similar feeling of just, you kind of evolve into your purpose.
Yeah.
How did you, or maybe there was a time or a moment where things just started clicking and you said, oh, I'm in business right now. Were there some moments like that for you, and you're like, this feels right, like this is my purpose right now, and now this is my purpose right now? How did you have any moments like that?
Well, one of the first and biggest moments was one of my first clients was Leonie Dawson, which now seems a bit crazy because she's so big and successful, and she has such a huge tribe. But when I first started out in business, I was part of her academy, and she was actually one of the first people I did a reading for, like when I had my business running. And that's one of those things where you never know what things are going to lead into. And so she has been one of those people who's been like super generous about sharing my work. And I remember at the end of my first year in business, 2012, and it was a bit slow in the fall, like end of winter. And I had this moment of, okay, so I've been really my thing. It can't be anything else. This is what I need to do. But I was kind of running out of I guess motivation, and I hadn't had a lot of clients in the fall, and I was like, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if I'm one of those people who has a passion and it just doesn't work out? And I was like, oh, really? And it just kind of really dawned on me, and then that's when I had that kind of really dark moment of like, oh, well, maybe it just doesn't. And that's when it kind of shifted for me, where I was like, well, you know what? This is what I love doing. This is where I feel like the most alive, and I feel that my life really has purpose. Because I think it's so deeply transformational, right? When you support people to grow and heal and really become more of who they are, that it just goes beyond the sessions you have with them, and it just feels like such a beautiful way to be able to like create the change that we want to see in the world, right? And then I realized that it didn't really matter if I made enough money in my business, because this is what I was here to do. And it's just kind of, when you get that feeling of like, this is it, and it doesn't matter, like the money, the tribe, whatever, I shouldn't focus on that, just on doing this. And I would be doing this even if I wasn't paid. It would just be harder, right? Because I wouldn't have any money coming in.
Yeah.
But that's like, and you know how it is with the funny, like the powerful inner shifts, and then something usually happens on the outside. And that's when Leonie did a big shout out on social media somewhere, and my inbox just started like overflowing with people wanting to book sessions. And I was like, okay, I'm good. Like the relief, and then the, okay, yeah, right. So that really was a shift, because now I can see it on the outside, side too. And then the ball started rolling and I got back, and then it's just been growing and growing. Well, you know, when you first start out, you have a little bit of business, nothing.
Yes.
A bit of business, nothing. So you really have to persevere, I guess, and find the right support so you don't give up. Or change something if it's not right. Because, you know, I'm a big believer, if it doesn't feel that it's flowing and you're doing the inner work, then maybe something has to shift in your business. You need to be something a bit different, or there's always stuff we can tweak, right, to make it really flow and be smooth.
I think, yeah, it's a constant mindful refining. And the more you're refining, the more you're getting clearer on the essence of who you are and your purpose. And you're clearing away all this extra stuff, all this conditioning, all these courses that you've taken, you know, all of the things you're supposed to do in business. And then after a while, I love how you opened up and were vulnerable and said there was a moment where it was dark. And I think, I don't know, maybe if I'm one of those people that my passion, it's not going to work. Because I'm sure many of us, myself included, as entrepreneurs, we're like, we had those moments, and I don't know if this is an actual reality that I can create for myself. And then you go there. You go into the depths, you go into the shadow, and then you acknowledge it. You're like, okay, this could be a reality. And then the shift happens. And then all the emails came.
Yeah, and isn't that so amazing? Because it's like the one place we don't want to go, right? You don't want to go in there. You're like, no, maybe I can think it away. Maybe I can just something. And every time we know, right, you have to go in there because that's where the gold is, right? And that's where it can shift and transform, because it's just layers that need to be released so we can move deeper into that. And I guess that's never going to end with this entrepreneur journey, right? Because there's always more. And I always feel like the scariest thing I can imagine, that's usually where I need to go. You know, like leadership, like I love supporting, being like the backup, like holding space for people in the background, but that's not at all what I'm being called to do. So I'm like, really? I have to like share. And what you've done, and that what I've loved so much about the circle that you created, is it's really about sharing stories. Because I love talking about other people and their journeys and how amazing they are. But when I have to share my own stories, I'm like, really? Is anyone going to find that? You know, I want to be one of the people going, oh, and me, and this happened when I was 5. And I was like, oh, maybe they're just sick of that, right? And I don't have anything interesting to say. And what if it's too much of that? You know, I just didn't feel very interesting, right? But it's not about being more interesting than other people. It's about sharing who we truly are through the things we've been through, because that's how we really connect on a deep level with others, right? And sharing that. I'm pretty secretive, so like share your stuff. That's, for me, that's been really challenging. But you know how it is. You know when you have to do something, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go there.
Absolutely, and it's listening to that fear, going into it, and then coming out the other side. And usually when we come out the other side, there's some kind of light bulb, or there's some kind of action, an aligned action that comes up, and we're like, really? I have to do that? Okay, I'm going to do it. And then you like half close your eyes and then you do it.
Exactly.
Just like it's like Emily was talking about this during her talk about, you know, going back and forth about the leap. Should I do it? Should I not? And she's like, take the leap. Just do it. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, there comes a time you just have to go, right? You've done all this stuff. You just have to go. That's why I think it's great to do like launches and have set dates, because otherwise you have no pressure, right, to actually go. And I do a lot of like the inner work around like embracing my fears and listening to them. First, we're just kind of scared and we feel a bit shaken, and I find that every time we dive into them and actually see what's really going on and we feel, it's usually like just a part of us that it's a bit scared of, like, oh, you're really going to do that? I don't like that. And then when you kind of embrace and love that part of yourself, I feel it's really on board and I can move forward. And of course there are moments that are scary and we really don't know what we're getting ourselves into, right, most of the time. But there's a sense of like, yeah, I'm doing it and it's not gonna die. sort of.
Sort of, yeah, right? Sort of. But most of the time, it's like that 1% chance that you'll die, but not really. It's like
Yeah.
0.0001.
Maybe it's that kind of symbolic death, though, because sometimes I definitely feel like I'm like a part of me, or the the person I've been up, and she's dying, and I'm stepping into a new me. You know, like kind of
Yes.
like a different yeah, because we do kind of grow into someone who I find, I mean, if someone had told me 5 years ago I'd be doing this, I'd be like, really? No, I don't think so. Because we're being so asked to really step into big stuff, right? And to go way beyond what we could have imagined, and to reach out. And like, for me, a big thing has been really to ask for support, because I don't, I don't want to bother people. But you kind of have to do things, right? And then just getting more and more used to that, and finding out that people actually really love helping, and that it creates stronger relationships when you also let other people help you, and you're not only the one going, I'll help them.
Yes, yes, and it's that exchange between. It's like, I was
Yeah.
talking to a friend, and she said, "How would you feel if somebody, you got somebody a Christmas present, you gave them the Christmas present, and they're like, no, 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 I can't take this, but you went and you planned this Christmas present, and you wrapped this Christmas present, and you're so happy to give them this present, and they're like, oh, no, 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 I can't accept that." She's like, oh, allow that other person to be happy too.
Yeah, because there's so much joy in giving, right? When you give in the right place. I think for me it was because I associated receiving from others as not safe. And like, because
Mm,
I remember when I was younger, and in my family, where I would receive something. It wasn't always like a physical gift, but help. And then there would be like that kind of, you owe me something, or other stuff being.
yeah, yes.
It always made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's good to see that, right? Because now I see that part in me, and I can release that, and then I can actually really receive, and it's such a beautiful feeling. That's such a great metaphor, though, with the Christmas present, because it's true, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, so good. One of the things you talked about was support. And as we're growing and evolving, um, I know for me what works is a mastermind, or supporting myself with like-minded people in a similar space. And then also signing up for, I did Leonie Dawson's Amazing Business Life Academy. I worked with business coach, McKenna Johnston, and a few other people that have helped me raise myself up. What have you been using these last 5 years for support, when you are asking for support for somebody that is maybe they're in this, they know they're going to be shifting things in the world. They're like, I don't even know where to start, or all the little doubts are coming in, the ego is coming in. What have you used so far on your journey in evolving and getting to this place of embracing your purpose?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love masterminds of some kind. Like, I love being in Leonie's Academy. I love being part of your circle. I think it's so powerful to connect with other people who are on a similar journey, because not everyone goes through exactly the stuff that we go through, and it's like you need the right kind of support. Because if someone says, oh, if it's too hard, just quit, may
Yeah.
not always work, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of the stuff we go through is pretty hard. So if we quit every time, it can be tricky. And especially when we get into like the mindset stuff, and we really want to go out like on a really big level, if we want to make a lot more money maybe than people we surround ourselves with normally, or have a really big impact, I think it's really important to surround ourselves with those people, right? Minds. And I've been a part of a few bigger groups like B School and the Academy, and I love that, because it's great to have lots of different kinds of people. But then I also really like it when it's a small group and you really get to know everyone. And I've created a few masterminds of my own, just because I love that really deep connection you can have with a few people, and you really get to know them, and you know what they're doing, and you can collaborate. So I think that's one of my favorite ways. I've been coached a little bit, but I don't know. I just have a hard time finding the right coach for me or the right mentor for me. I've done, I think, all of Hiraboga's programs, and she does a lot of mentoring in the programs, and I've loved that. She's one of my favorite people. She's so, she's so deep, and she's so funny, and she's so warm. I kind of find it hard because I love the blend of like people really good at business, but who are also very intuitive, and I want them to be really kind and generous and like nice, you know. And I haven't, it hasn't really been that easy, I find, to find that perfect blend of, you know, the right person, because there's so many ways of doing business, that, you know, finding the right fit. But I think for someone who really needs that business coaching kind of, it's great to do that. I've done more of like the getting support on the inner work, I think. I get like massage with like energy work and those kinds of things, because I find that usually it's not so much the practical stuff, it's really the energy or the emotional stuff, because that's where it all, that's where it starts getting a bit tricky. And my friend Laura Waldman does she does courses on like abundance activations. It's been really fun to explore the really, really, really deep level, because that's always a big thing for us too, because we want to help and we want to be nice and we want to be, you know, all those things. And how can we also make money, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and so I just want to let people know in full transparency all of the support that we had behind us to get to embracing our purpose, because it's not, I feel like there's the story kind of goes, I had this little struggle, it transformed, and now I'm a millionaire, or now I travel around the world, now I'm the successful entrepreneur. It's like, nope. there's a journey, and it's a fun one, it's an exciting one, it's a scary one, it's a gentle one, all at the same time. So how, if people, I know you're working on, or you have a program actually, that is blending all the different things that you've learned and all the programs that you've experienced and also your journey, which I think is solving the problem that you're having of finding somebody that was the perfect balance of business and intuitiveness. So now you've created it. Tell us more a little bit about this program.
Funny, right?
I know, right? Like, but that's the thing though, right? We end up creating things that we wish there were when we were at a certain level. And it's like, man, if there was like, if there was a me now that was teaching people how to do singularity storytelling, I totally would hire her, and I could just like in a year move much quicker than like 8 years of all this, because I realized I was totally resistant to the inner work. And I know if I would have done that,
I think we have a good reason to, right?
Yeah. If I would have done it much quicker, or like would have done that first, it wouldn't have taken me 8 years to get to where I am. But right, I learned all those lessons in those 8 years of getting to where I am now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it works, isn't it? Like we need to go through that journey, and I think we need the time too, because I mean, I totally get that people resist the inner work, because that can be really uncomfortable. And when you haven't done a lot of it, it's like, it's hard, right? Because it's triggering all the old stuff and all the stuff that we didn't even know that we had buried. And then we go, oh, this stuff. And then there's always more, right? Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to, before I run out of battery, right?
Oh, no. See, this is technology, guys. We need to make sure the batteries are always running. I think a perfect analogy, we need to have our batteries running. That's why we have support from other outlets.
We do, right? Not just the inner stuff, but also the structure, right? Yes. And so my program is really a mix of the stuff that I love the most, and that I'm always talking about. You know, so I run into the cashier and I go, so what do you dream? What are your dreams, and what do you want to do? And what's your dream business or create, or, you know, what lights you up? And I'm always talking about how, you know, you can create what it is that you want to have in life. You don't have to do a job you don't like. I mean, you may do it to transition into something else, but what lights you up, and how can you make that happen? So my program is really a mix of the business structure and that kind of male energy, I guess, of having a structure and doing certain things and focusing on what matters, but also that kind of feminine energy of really tuning into your intuition. And because of a lot of my clients, and I know yours too, we have so many tools. Like, we have so many tools to connect with source, to channel information. How about we use that for our businesses? You know, like, how about instead of trying to follow like a boring marketing plan, you actually tune into the energy of your business, of what you're creating, and you kind of feel into what it wants to become and what it needs from you. Just like you with a client, right? So I use a lot of those energy tools that I use for myself and my clients in the program and with my business, because then it feels like play, and it's usually I find energy is much more powerful when I tap into that than when I try to figure things out on my own or do what someone else is doing or what everyone else is doing. So it's really using all those intuitive skills and like just like yourself healing as you're creating a program, or like sending healing to your business or to your project. Like, I connect in and talk to my program regularly to kind of keep the energy high, to clear it, to make sure I'm moving in the right direction. My business partner, I guess, and all the parts of my business are really like my partners. When I send out a newsletter, I focus on the people who are on my list, and I send them love, and I kind of connect in and channel them, because then it becomes so much easier than, you know, when I try to just do it because it's on my list.
Yeah.
You know, and then and then I feel like the embracing your purpose becomes even bigger, right? Because it's in every part. It's in you know, everything we post on Facebook or everything we share anywhere. Yeah, so it's really a mix of that, and then the masterminding and the live calls. And my friend Jackie Stewart is creating an essence, like a flower, an essence, especially for the people who sign up for my course. Oh, like, I would sign up just for that.
Right, yes. Oh, that's such a beautiful partnership, because then you have an actual, like, a little physical tool with you, and then you're virtually doing the mastermind calls and working through the course together, and you have an online international community of entrepreneurs. Are they just starting out entrepreneurs? They're at a certain level entrepreneurs? Who are the people that, if they're interested in this, because I know you're going to run it a few more times, because I know you.
Yeah, I think I will, because it's going to get deeper and juicier, right? Well, my people who are in business already, maybe they've like at least a year, maybe a little bit more, but they kind of have that, it's like there's something missing, or they feel like they could expand more, but it's like they don't know exactly how to do that. So it could be people who have done like a bunch of business programs, but feels like they don't, it's like they need some support to integrate all that stuff, and to bring in more of the intuitive, their own wisdom into what they create. And also for accountability, right? And rising together and getting that too. But it could honestly be for someone who's just starting out, who's like, this is for me. Because honestly, if I had found a program like that when I was starting out, it would have saved me a lot of time. You know, instead of doing this and that and this and that and going back to, oh, actually, I want to do things my way, which is also a great way to, you know, create your business. But it could be, I think, it's more about like, are you willing to do the inner work and to bring in all those pieces? So I think it's more, because I feel like the energy of my program feels really, really powerful. And I'm like, okay, better step into this. So it's really about like that, the leadership and the owning your stuff and facing it and dealing with it, so you can really move forward in a really beautiful, super transformational way. And I think that's, so I think that's more like the focus than a certain, you know, new or older entrepreneur. But I think that's really important. It's that kind of lining everything up and bringing it all together to move forward with a lot more focus. And it's definitely for people who may be super successful, who are doing exactly what they want, but they're working and they feel like they should be enjoying their business more.
That's a really good one. Yeah, definitely.
Because it's like when we first start out, all we want to do is to make enough money so we can keep doing it, right? And then we want to, like, you know, feed our families and all that. And that becomes a big focus. I find the success and the money so we can keep doing it, right? But once you get there, I find that some entrepreneurs, they have everything they called in, but because the structure is so, you know, hard work, putting pressure, masculine kind of energy, they don't actually hide. And then it's like they're stuck in this structure that doesn't fit them, but they don't know how to change it because
Yes, the conditioning,
you know, they kind of,
the patterns.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
really,
and once
really
you
good.
have, you know, and once you have the success, you're supposed to be happy, right? Once you have the perfect everything, you're supposed to be really fulfilled, but sometimes on the inside it doesn't. So I love weaving in lots of like joy and freedom and playfulness, and because that's also why we create our businesses, so we can have fun. So it could be someone who's doing really well but just wants more of that.
Yes. Oh, this feels so good. And I know if people want to find out more, or I know you have a few other resources on your website, how can people connect with you?
Well, thank you. Well, easiest way is to go to karinaladet.com and everything's on there. They can find the program. It's called Embrace Your Purpose, an intuitive program for conscious entrepreneurs. And then I have a shop with guided meditations because I love guided meditations, and they're such powerful ways to kind of do the work on your own, but you're being guided by someone's voice and beautiful music. And then I do intuitive readings, one-on-one sessions. And I have a few other group programs, but they kind of come and go. So yeah, and my spirit guide kit for people who want to learn how to channel, because that's a really beautiful gift for anyone who feels the call, right? And it's not that difficult, so.
Yeah, Karina makes everything super easy, very approachable, and she has also an online community. I think once you sign up for her mailing list, there's a little online community that she also has crafted for everybody, a really nice, safe space. And she does meditations, so many things. I've done, I think I've done 2 of your meditations, and I always feel so good after doing a meditation. I'm like, oh, because I tend to go more into the masculine with the structure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, wait, I can go on the other side. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, it's that reminder, right? Thank you so much. Yeah, I do regular live calls where I do meditations, and it feels like we're like magical ceremonies out in a beautiful, magical place, although it's like all online, and it's just so wonderful. And then taking that time away to really connect in with the power and the energy, and then we can go about our days in a, yeah, just more fun and powerful way, right? Instead of, you know, fiddling away on our to-do list. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Karina, and for always sharing your wisdom online and offline. And for those of you that want to connect with her, you could go to karinaladet.com, and we look forward to seeing more and connecting with more Singularity storytellers the rest of the day for the Storytelling Summit.
Thank you so much, Isabel, for having me and for everyone watching. And it's been such a joy. I've learned so much about storytelling from you. It's just all seeping in, and I'm using it so much in my business. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.